If you do this shit, you can never go back.
I'm sorry for your loss, brother. Then again, the life you lead means constant loss, so you gotta know that by now, right?
Well, seeing how episode 10 is officially finished, and I wanted to talk about basically a lot of things that happened in episode 10 and things that should have, been talked about, because I would say like the biggest takeaways from like Power Book 2 Ghost season 4 episode 10 was that you had guys like Zion, Noma, Carter, and then eventually Ghost, right? Because the thing is that what they could have done with like Zion's character, as I said before, where it was like he was a big missed opportunity, because it was like a guy that supposedly knew, I guess, about like Ghost and Tommy, right? Now, when they give us like Power Origins, I think it's not going to really matter. Like if they decide to say like, oh, Zion was even around in Power Origins, or he was around in Raising Kanan, it wouldn't really matter, because he only had like a small role, and he only had like a limited amount of time in Power Book 2 Ghost. So we didn't really know too much about the character, where he came from, who is he really like tied with, or who he had ties with, right? So it was just like, it was a really big missed opportunity on what they done with like Zion, because it was just like, oh, it made it seem like he was like a guy that, oh, I knew about them, but was never really around. It's like when you know how you have like that one friend who tells you like, oh, I was with this crew and I was with that crew, but they was really not there. They was just like people who claimed that they was there, but they really wasn't. So that's what they kind of did with Zion. I didn't really like what they did, and he was like a really big missed opportunity. Now, going over like episode 10, I think the outcome should have been sort of what it was, where I think Monet should have died. I think it was perfect that she died, because with everything that she did like throughout the series, when dealing with her kids, and how she was treating them, how she was abusing them, like mentally she was like really abusing them and saying like, oh, I did this for the family, right? And how she was treating Kane, Diana, and Drew like throughout the duration of the series, and how she had like Lorenzo Tejada basically killed, right? So I think it only made sense for her to like go out the way that she did to save and protect Kane. I think that was perfect. I thought that was fine. And for Noma and Chinadu to kill her again, that was fine. And it was just like, I think towards the ending, I think people was like a little bit confused as to why Chinadu would return back to New York City. And also, the one thing that I forgot to mention and talk about in my review, it also seemed like Noma was not really as big as what we all thought her to be, because Noma had, it seemed like she was using Chinadu soldiers. It seemed like Noma didn't have like a private military. It seemed like those was Chinadu soldiers, because when they was all talking, and how Chinadu was just saying like, listen, you're messing up the family, you messing up the business, I think it's time for us to leave. And she was just like, no, I don't want to leave, I still want revenge. And he was just like, no, come on, men, we're leaving. So it seems like those was Chinadu's men, because remember, Chinadu, I guess Lagos, Nigeria, or whatever. So I guess his operation and base was in, I guess, Nigeria or whatever. So I guess for the time being, when Noma like separated and she was doing her own business, she, I guess, was getting soldiers and men from Chinadu. So I was like, okay, so that does make sense as to why those men didn't really like stay with Noma. Because if they would have stayed with Noma, then the Tejadas would have had like an all-out shootout with Noma and her soldiers, rather than Noma just calling the police and having the police arrest the Tejadas. Like, don't you find that like a little bit odd and weird? Like, why was she with the police? It didn't make sense to me. It was like, wait, what? So I was like, okay, that's what it sort of like drew, like okay, it sort of like hurted her character for like a little bit, because it made us believe that these was her soldiers, but then you come to find out these was Chinadu. So Chinadu was just allowing her to have some of his soldiers, but then he, throughout the course of Power Book 2 Go season 4, his soldiers was getting killed. So he was just like, nah, forget this. This is too much. We out of here. And I was okay with Chinadu leaving, but here's the thing. When you had Chinadu return back to New York City, that's the part that didn't make any sense, because he was leaving. Chinadu was leaving, and then why was it that he would to make a negotiation with Tariq, don't you think that Noma would have told Chinadu about the Tejada family was doing, and then also what Tariq St. Patrick was doing? Like, wouldn't you think he would have been very wary of Tariq? Like, nah, I'm not gonna even do business with you. I shouldn't even be in New York City even talking to you, right? Because for all he know, he could have helped the Tejada family like get revenge for Noma or whatever. But again, all of these things that they did towards the ending sort of didn't really make any sense, because I get it. They was trying to like, boost up Tariq's status. They wanted to make Tariq, surpassing Ghost, and then they figured like this was a cute little thing to do it for him to surpass Ghost, where he did something that Ghost didn't do. But again, in my opinion, I think it was still wrong, because they pushed the gun too soon, and they tried to put Tariq out there like, yeah, he finally got the mantle of being Ghost. But to the fans, he didn't really get that mantle, and I don't think he will ever get that mantle of being Ghost, because it was just how they did it. Now granted, as I said before, season 4 was ending, it got canceled, so they had to probably rush and do things that could have been maybe fleshed out and expanded. Because if, let's just say, Power Book 2 Go season 5 would have been a thing, and they would have had like maybe original Power, where it would have been like maybe 6 seasons, so we probably would have had maybe like 6 seasons of Power Book 2 Ghost, and then they probably would have fleshed out maybe Zion's character a little bit more, Carter's character a little bit more, because Carter was another character that had like a lot of questions, because it was just like, why is most of his wife's stuff in there? Did he kill his wife? Did the things that he claimed that happened to his wife didn't really happen, right? Is he the black version of Norman from Psycho, right? Like, what's going on? We didn't get any of that. It was just like, oh, things that happen, and they kind of like left us out there to like really question and think about, like, oh, okay, maybe this can happen. But like I said before, they're gonna give us like this spinoff with like, I guess, like Tommy and Tariq. And again, the fans sort of don't really care, because the biggest opportunity that they completely missed out on was having Omari Hardwick, aka the OG of Ghost, to return. They sort of fumbled the ball, because I think what should have been like the ending for episode 10 should have been like Tariq literally gets nothing. Like, he walks out scot-free, where it's like he gets no business, he gets no product. He goes back to being normal again, and because Noma's dead and Monet is dead, and he gets nothing. And I think that should have been like his ending right there, where he has to go back to Head Start, and he doesn't want to. And I think they should have probably just did it that way. Now, if they wanted to do like the spinoff, then they should have just done it where Tommy calls up Tariq, and then Tariq goes over there to help Tommy deal with the problems in Chicago, and then maybe Tommy and Tariq stay in Chicago and take over Chicago that way, rather than it being like, oh, the ghosted machine of where Tariq takes over New York City, and he's basically gonna be running the jokes like there. But I think what they're gonna probably try to do again, because Tariq, he's not going to stay in college forever, and that whole college campus thing, and selling, the whole course correct thing, that's not going to last that long. So I'm thinking ultimately it probably might come back to the whole nightclub thing, where Tariq probably might take over the nightclub eventually. Like, I think Tommy might convince him to be like, well, we can probably just take the nightclub or whatever, and just sell the drugs through the nightclub like before. So that's what I'm thinking that they probably might do. Well, not like before. Well, yeah, like before, because they was doing well, yeah, I get what I mean. But I think they're gonna probably do it that way for like maybe the spinoff, because again, they didn't even talk about Tariq's graduation of class 2024. They didn't really talk about any of that. But like I said before, like, the biggest missed opportunity was not having like Ghost return and either tell Tariq, like either show up to either save him, or show up to basically say like, you didn't win anything, you would never be like me or whatever. Like, he could have returned at some point in time to either show that all of Tariq's actions basically meant to nothing. He lost everything. He gets nothing. He has no money. He has to just figure out his college and graduate from there with nothing. He starts with nothing because he lost the trust fund. He lost everything. And I think that should have been like the lesson learned right there, of trying to become Ghost, and you didn't really become a ghost at all, right? So, you know what? They could have done it like this. Like, Tariq would have became a ghost. Becoming a ghost meaning like you're a person that has nothing, and you're not a person that has something, but nobody knows about it. It's just that he would have been like a regular person just walking around, and I think that should have probably been like his ending right there. I think that should have been his ending right there. And again, and having it where Ghost goes to Chicago and saving Tommy rather than it being like Tariq, because again, nobody really sees Tariq like that. They just see him as just a regular kid. But again, they messed up episode 10 and hints as to why episode 10 would be like mid. Now I know there's probably people out there who enjoyed episode 10, and there's people out there who probably do like Tariq, like Team Tariq or whatever. There's probably like a small selection of fans out there who do, but for the majority of the fans and the OG fans, they're gonna be like, no, like you're trying to push something that shouldn't be pushed into existence. And it was just, you give us this ending and nobody liked the ending. They screwed up twice. With the first was with the hallucination of Tariq being that truth, which we all thought, okay, is this as they're gonna play into something. Again, it was a hallucination of a hallucination, so that didn't work out. And then at the ending, there was no nothing. It was just a bunch of missed opportunities with Agent Young, Cash, Paz, Elisa Marie, Ghost, right? It was a whole bunch of missed opportunities. Zion, right? All of these missed opportunities that they didn't do or didn't even show. Hell, they didn't even show Kanan. They didn't even show like Tariq having a hallucination of Kanan, having him like say like, well, little nigga, you did it. You finally did it. You finally surpassed your father and me. Nothing. Completely missed opportunities. All on the board. All on the board. That's why I'm like, episode 10 was mid. It wasn't good at the slightest. It was really mid. So, like I said before, this is probably it for that. And but we're gonna see how this spinoff is gonna look, right? Maybe there's still a chance of Tariq, potentially losing, depending on what they do. But again, I don't really see like more majority of the fans like coming to like Tariq's defense here, because I have not seen anybody in my comment section ever came to that little nigga's defense at all. They was just like, it sucks, the writing is sort of bad, they kind of like lost the premise, they lost the plot, they fell off the goal of what they was trying to tell us in the story. So yeah, but comment down below what you guys think, and like, comment, subscribe, and share, and I'll catch you all in the next one.